All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Welcome to Wednesday Forum. This is a weekly discussion that is held by both the Center for Religious and Cross-Cultural Studies, or CRCS, at the Graduate School Gajah Mada University, and the Indonesian Consortium for Religious Studies. And this is the fourth of this semester. And we already have our speaker today here, Romo Martinus Joko Lelono, who is a Catholic priest and an alumnus of ICRS, just finishing his dissertation a year ago or months ago. And he is going to talk about his dissertation, which is about a Catholic youth community that is adopting a charismatic style of ritual, I think. Later, Pak Romo Joko will elaborate about it. And Romo Joko, you already know the way we manage this forum, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
So 40 minutes maximum for your presentation. Yeah. And then for the rest of the time, we will have a discussion. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Romo Martinus Joko Lelono.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for Mas Asis for the time, and I'm happy here to be with you all in this prestigious forum, Wednesday forum. Actually, today is my graduation day, just this morning, and thank you very much for this moment. Okay, today I will share with you my dissertation, and I will show you in slide. Okay. So the title of my dissertation is this one, Redefining Youth, this prestigious forum, Wednesday forum. Actually, today is my graduation day, just this morning. Why? Thank you very much for this moment. Okay, today I will share it with you my, sorry, what's it? Sorry, why I hear my own voice? Okay, so the title of my dissertation is Redefining Youth Religion in Searching for Home of Identity Among Youth of Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus. So before I going further to explore the my study on Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus, it is good for me to tell you about this community. So this is a Catholic community, the charismatic Catholic community. I will let you know later that Catholic charismatic is quite new in the Catholic Church. It is in 1967. And even when it comes to Indonesia in 1976, then there were several problems in managing charismatic, but Catholic, Pentecostal, but Catholic. That's why there is one new community, new kinds of community founded by Father Yohanes Indra Kusuma, Romo Yohanes Indra Kusuma, here in the picture. And he was able to criticize the way Catholic Church managed the Pentecostal or charismatic communities. So this is Father Yohanes Indra Kusuma, the founder of this community and the leader of this community up to last year. And the second one is second picture is the picture of their centers. I will explore later several centers of this community. And the third one is the picture of their gathering in Surabaya. It was in 2018, in which they could gather in 7,000 people. It's quite a big number for Catholic. And the fourth one, this is the focus of my study. This is the gathering of youth, annual youth spiritual camp of Catholic Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus, in which they promote their existence toward Catholic youth. And this community work in the cell communities. We can compare it with the halakoh or small cell community in the PKS. Actually, at first, when I was about to conduct this research, I was about to compare it with the PKS, their Holocaust movement, but then I found that they are not apple to apple. They could not be compared apple to apple because both of them are yes, they have these cell communities, but they work with different aims. While the one work with the political aims, this one is only with the spirituality. The first one is in Fakfak, Papua. The second one is in Bali. The third one in Bandung. Fourth one in Melbourne. So to be a member of this community, they should have this one. Interested person, those who want to be a part of this community, they need to have 6 month participation in this community meeting, cell community, a weekly community meeting, and following the early retreat, passing the mentoring. And the second step, the beginner, they have the requirement to be temporary committed member, the third step. They need 1 year at least. And the fourth step, they have like 3 years after the temporary committed member states. So this is like a long process to be a part of this community. Number of committed member in 2015, they talk about 10,000 people. But later in 2019, when I did my research, they have 11,852 members of this community. And yes, it is an overview of this community, and later I still will explore later. But before I think it is good for me to tell you about my research. When I was about to conduct my research, I worked with several uh, religious-based social movement that focus to youth. The first one is the study of Nur Haidi Hassan, in which he speak about the youth participation in the Islamic hardliner is not merely about the peri-peri rule, but they work also in the pivotal rule. That was they are important for that works. The second one is study by Patricia Speyer, in which she speaks about the youth participation in displaying big pictures of Jesus in several edges of the Ambon cities, in which they claim that the city belongs to the Christian, while they want to kick out the Muslim. Uh, then yeah, they do some important role in this way of thinking, in this way of movement. And the third one is the Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus. These young members, they are special members of Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus. They work with the intention to do something for the Catholic Church. They work with, they dedicate their time at least for 1 year or 2 year or more, and doing evangelization work for living in the rural areas, and they work for evangelization in several places in Indonesia. They dedicate 1 or 2 years. And what comes into my mind at the time was that this one. What is the logic behind the youth engagement and their pivotal role on the religious-based social movement? And then, based on these three kinds of social movement, youth social movement, then finally I choose KTM. Why? This is my justification. The first one, because there is only limited research about religious-based community among Catholic. Yeah, there are study about Muslim, study about Protestant, but there is a limited number of study of the Catholic. And the second, the Catholic case study enables us to explore wider tendency. This is what convinced me, because I think they have similarities of doing that. And the third one, that this identity negotiation is accepted by the Catholic youth and also the Catholic Church, and there is something what's a political identity within. And the second one, I need to have a justification why did I choose strategic action fields. This is a theory by Doug McAdam and Neil Flickstein in which they speak about the strategic action field. I will explain later. This field theory provides us with an identity negotiation focus on field emergency, the stability of field, and field transformation. So I think later you will understand that I work with the idea that within this religious community, they work with certain field of action, even though they are living in the established community, religious community. Then the second one, this meso-level social order theory enables us to understand the internal dynamic of certain community. While when people speaking about the Islam hardliner, they sometimes speak about this is not Islam. They are not Islam. But how can we do this? That they are really, it is a layer of Islam in Indonesia. Or when people are thinking about this kind of community, people sometimes in the Catholic Church, this community, sometimes people speak about a church within a church. This is my justification of choosing KTM and Sachs theory. The research questions. The first one, how to understand the phenomenon of KTM within the context of Indonesian Catholic Church, and how does KTM become the home of identity for the Catholic youth? How to locate KTM within the Indonesian Roman Catholic Church and the understanding of Global South Christianity. Global South Christianity will be the body of knowledge of my research that I will explore later. The third one is how does KTM contribute to our understanding to the discourse on the religious political identity and interreligious relation in Indonesia. This is my work on collecting data. I did the participant observatory. I joined in the youth spiritual camp in Tumpang, Malang on July 9 and 13, 2018. And I work with, I joined in the cell community meeting since November 2018 to January 2019 in Surabaya. Among 5 cell communities, I joined them for until 3 times and understand the way of thinking, the way of how they could accept this way of living religion. The third one is I joined in the Catholic Revival, as I mentioned before, that could collect people, at least 7,000 people said so. And then the fourth one, I joined in 2 sessions of BINUS, special coaching. This is special coaching for a special member of this community. They called them as volunteers. They had at least 30 days of doing BINUS special coaching for special members. And then I work with deep interview with 15 young members of this community. Father Yohanes Indra Kusuma, the leader of this community, Bishop of Surabaya, because I work in the youth community in Surabaya, and Father Lambert Sukiri van den Heuvel, the first leader of the Catholic charismatic renewal in Indonesia. And to have a triangulation data, I work with focus group discussion with 6 members of KTM that in charge of leadership of the youth member in KTM Youth Cell in Surabaya. So this is the body of knowledge of this study. The first one is the Global South Christianity. This is the study by, if I could mention it, this is the study by Philip Jenskin, Peter Wilfred, and Felix Wilfred and Peter Pan. They work with the book, several books. Felix Wilfred wrote book, The Oxford Handbook of Christianity in Asia. Peter Pan worked with Christianities in Asia. Philip Jenkins, his book entitled The the next Christendom, the coming of global Christianity. They work with the two kinds of idea. This one, the background, that in recent decades, Christianity has experienced two major phenomena as a religion. The first, its decline in the global north, Europe and North America. And the second, its rise in the global south, Africa, Asia, and South America. And therefore, this kind of situation bring me to two kinds of thinking. The first one, it is important for us to understand the South Christianity today as an anticipation of the South Christianity in the future. And the second one, that the thematic study of this global South Christianity could enrich the understanding of this phenomenon. Therefore, then I intentionally work with youth because this community actually have what's it, the adult branch, but also a young branch. I worked with the idea of Sigmund Bauman when he worked with the liquid modernity. His idea is about interregnum, when people are leaving old structures to find a new social structures that could fulfill their personal need and acceptance. If we work with the idea of postmodern, we work with the idea of Lyotard, the death of meta-narrative and the acceptance of a small narrative. The second one, that we have religious revivalism in which youth as targeted members. And this, the framing of this study is a home of identity, a movable definition of themselves, a group of people and their social world, a more or less shared and dynamic understanding of the goals of their action, as well as the field of possibilities and limits within which their action take place. Okay, we comes to the focus of this study, KTM in the soft perspective. Before I comes to the soft perspective and how they built the construction of the field within this community, I will explain you later about this community. So there is a kind of historical background of this community. This community acceptance within the Catholic Church could not be separated from the Catholic Church acceptance of Pentecostal rites in the name of Catholic charismatic renewal. It happened in 1967 in the Cursillo movement in Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, United States. And not even 10 years, a decade, it comes already in Indonesia and was accepted by the bishop of, even though it's not official, but people regard it as the acceptance of this community in 1967 by the bishop of Surabaya, of Jakarta at the time, Monsignor Leo Sukoto, bishop of Jakarta. But then some years after, there were several problems of managing a pure Catholic charismatic renewal. You know that in the Catholic Church, the unity is something honored. That's why there were problems on it. In 1980s to 1990s, there were problems with this one. Some communities of this Catholic charismatic renewal invite preachers from out of the Catholic churches. They comes from the Pentecostal or those who coming from the Protestant churches, and it is banned in the Catholic Church. And then also because of the influence, people said so, of the Pentecostal rites, sometimes the Catholic people at the time lost their identity as Catholic, especially in the name of honoring Mary and Eucharist as the center of the Catholic teachings. And the third one is there were several reactions from the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church banned several communities, Carpena movement and also Sungai Yordan community, because they have problem with their loyalty toward the Catholic Church. And the second one, there were several rules on certain rights. But even though the Catholic Church had already several reactions, but then there was a priest, Father Johannes, the leader of this community in Malang, one of leaders of this community in Malang, because they have their national body in Jakarta also. He said it is not enough for us to only follow what the Catholic Church in Indonesia said, but we need to have a new community. We need to have a community with 100% Catholic and 100% charismatic identity. Therefore, we need to ban every involvement in the Pentecostal rites, and we need to have a better management of CCR, Catholic Charismatic Renewal. Therefore, we need a new community. At the time, it is like something happened in the Catholic Church. In his idea of leaving the Catholic Church, Father Johannes said that, yes, we are like a sleeping giant. The Pentecostal, they attracted our members, our fellow Catholics, and we did nothing to protect them from our community, like sleeping giant that did nothing. That is what it was happened. It was the idea, but later I will speak about. Later I will tell you about the gereja tetangga, the next idea of Pentecostal rites. But when he was about to build a new community, there were several challenges on managing new community because Father Johannes at the time did critique toward the Catholic Church. Second, he did critique also toward the Catholic Charismatic Renewal. And the third one, he had only a limited authority. Therefore, several things happened. The first one, there were long acceptance from the Catholic hierarchy of this community that they are really Catholic. And the second one, conflict between KTM and the Catholic charismatic communities. Because yes, rebutan anggota for sometimes. And the third one, also resistance of several Catholics. As you know that in the Catholic Church, charismatic is still questionable for some people. And then there is a new community that speak about the charismatic way of living, but also Catholic way of living. So people still have a resistance of joining this kind of community. So nowadays, this is like in the meantime, they have already their position in KTM position in the Catholic Church. Nowadays is this like this one. This is the Catholic Church, and there are several other categorical communities. There are many communities that honor several saints, those who work with the social project, those who work with several others. There are many kinds of categorical communities in the Catholic Church. But then there is a Catholic Charismatic Renewal that at first they have only this Catholic Charismatic Renewal. When it was built in 1987, then Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus was people regarded as a part of this Catholic Charismatic Renewal. But later in 2003, when they had already its position, then this community regard themselves as in the same level toward the Catholic Charismatic Renewal. This is like a positioning that they are not a part of many communities below this Catholic Charismatic Renewal. In the national body, they have Badan Pelayanan Nasional Pembaharuan Karismatik Katolik Indonesia, but this community is in the same level of Catholic Charismatic Renewal. And then, in order to successing his idea of having 100% Catholic and 100% charismatic communities, Father Johannes worked with the charismatic and Catholic identity. Yes, it is charismatic, but also Catholic. because he is a Carmelite, a priest order in the Catholic Church. Then he worked with the idea of combining charismatic and Carmel. So he built a community of nuns in 1982 and community of priests in 1986 and Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus in 1987 for membership multiplication. As we know, the number of priests and nuns in the Catholic Church is limited, are limited, but number of lay people, they are more, they have more members. So in 1987, it was only adult community, but later in 1989, there was a youth community. My work focused on youth community in 1989. And when I was about to conduct this dissertation, my idea was this one: how could this community finally attract the participation of youth and maintain their loyalty within this group? I mentioned it as youth engagement of this community. The first one, the one thing that I found is this one, that this community, actually Father Johannes speak about the new panorama of doing evangelization. Evangelization is like dakwah. So even though it is not common in the Catholic Church, but Father Johannes mentioned about indirect evangelization and compare it to the direct evangelization. What is indirect evangelization? If indirect evangelization is an evangelization or dakwah through the social services, like in schools, in hospitals, and other social services. But then what is direct evangelization? Is evangelization from people to people, or we can mention as personal engagement. Therefore, this community provides youth with community acceptance. So they have, I mentioned earlier about the cell community. They have cell communities in which they meet one another in every week, and they share their personal experiences, and then they could have this feeling of they call it as our second family. And besides their acceptance, this community also provides youth with evangelization as a communal goal. They have communal goal evangelization. What is evangelization? What kinds of evangelization they do in this community? The first one is oikos evangelization, oikos dakwah. The evangelization or dakwah toward people from their neighborhood, toward people from their mother, their friends, their friends in work, or friends in church and others. And the second one is, this is ad gentes evangelization. This ad gentes evangelization is an advanced way of thinking of this community, because in 2006 they started this kind of ad gentes evangelization. This community offered this youth with this new way of thinking about that the Catholic Church needs you. Could you dedicate your time for 1 or 2 years to do something for the church, to do evangelization? Then they have these special members, namely volunteers, that the evangelization toward people from area that has no religion. Nowadays they work with the Kaharingan people in Marathos Mountains, or the places with indigenous religions, and also in the area where the Catholic faith influences are declining. Yes, this is the idea, and how they engage the youth to have voluntary participation in this community. So nowadays they have several centers in Ngadirso, Tumpang Malang, Cikanyere, West Java. They have center in Medan, Sabah, House of Seminarian, those who want to be a priest in Rome. They have center in Manado, Johor, San Francisco, Sarawak, in Santibuana, in Bengkayang, and also this one also seminary, Sekolah Tinggi Katolik Santo Yohanes Salib in Bandol also. And the idea of engaging youth then work with the idea how could we could I finally theorize this way of living religion, of providing communities for the youth. I work with the study of strategic action field done by Neil Flickstein and Doug McAdam. It is a meso-level social order where actor or actors interact with knowledge of one another under a set of common understandings about purposes of the field, with relationship in the field, the relationship in the field and the field rules. So how this social, maybe we more common with the idea of I can see. This is the fourth step of this community, this way of strategic action field provide youth with the field of action. The first one is political opportunity. As we know that there were problems on managing charismatic at the time. Then exploration of skilled strategic actors. It is Father Johannes Indra Kusuma at the time. Yes, we have problem with this one. We need to protect our fellow Catholic, and we need to have a new community. And there were strategic and dynamic, and finally they could have a position within the Catholic Church with the institutional states. So the idea of strategic action field is like this, that within an established community, in this case is Catholic Church, there are several layers. In order to be a layers of an established community, they need to do political identity politic, in which finally they find themselves as a layer of an established community, even though, of course, we know that they are similar, but not totally the same. This idea is like this is a Russian doll, that within an established community, there are several layers within. And the strategic action field work in 4 area. This one, I call it also, this one is skilled strategic actor, sorry. And strategic action field or field in the making of this community work with 4 steps. The first one is social framing. That Father Johannes Indra Kusuma at the time always mentioned about the threat of Pentecostalism, that Pentecostal Church already influenced the way of leaving the Catholic Church. Some of our fellow Catholics joined them, and others and others. And the second also modernity, because in front of the youth they speak about the influence of modernity, free sex. Always we know that the Catholic Church sometimes we speak about free the personal loneliness and others. And the second one is about agenda setting. Of course, a community need to have a communal agenda. Their agenda were cell community meeting. It is like a weekly community meeting, and they call it as the important meeting of the community. Some of the youth that I interviewed, they mentioned that I did always dedicate 2 hours in a week to join the cell community. I will not even I will let myself always join this cell community. And the second one is Catholic revival. It's like in every 2 or 3 years they have Catholic revival in Surabaya. The third one is youth camp. This is an annual camp of the community. They could join. Some of them even join as a committee of this youth camp. And Youth Day, in every 5 years, they have World Youth Day of Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus. The third one is brokering, like broke old identity and provide them with new identity. Yes, we are Catholic, but we are not merely a Catholic, we are evangelists. KTM penginjil, they call themselves as it is. And we need to do oikos and agentas evangelization. And the fourth one is robust action, an action that could be seen in many perspectives. sometimes people regard it as serving their need, the need, but then sometimes, but actually this is the need of this strategic skilled strategic actor. The separation from Catholic charismatic renewal in 2003, because at first they are about yes, we are following you. Sometimes they speak those who want to be a member of KTM could have double membership with the Catholic charismatic renewal, but in 2003 they have a clear cut position in which they speak about yes, KTM is KTM, Catholic charismatic renewal is Catholic charismatic renewal. Okay, and finally, this is my research findings. Global South Christianity. Yes, the charismatic dynamic effect to the dynamic of Roman Catholic in Indonesia. Yes, in before 1967, yeah, Catholic is like the same, but nowadays we have a dynamic with the Catholic charismatic. And the second one, KTM as a local community has influence to transnational Christianity, especially because this community already have several branches in several countries. As I already mentioned, some in Australia. There are many in Malaysia. They have also communities in China and Vietnam. Many of them join in the community of nuns. Before they join this community, they are a part of KTM in Vietnam and China. And this one, when I did my close defense, my promoter still questioning whether this community is fundamentalism or not, or because they work with direct evangelization, they work with we need to do something for the for our religion. Then yes, still questionable. But then I call it is like the religious revivalism. At first, I worked with the book that attract me a lot is the Conservative Turn by Martin van Brunissen, but it worked with the political agenda. Then how could I call this community religious revivalism or fundamentalism? It's questionable. And the second one, this community may contribute to the problem in managing ecumenism, because at first they speak about yes, we are under threat of these Pentecostal, but later most of them in the personal meeting when I did my interview, they speak about gereja tetangga. It is overclaim of Pentecostal, Protestant, evangelist, and others. And the second one is I did a mapping of Catholic youth religious negotiation, that many of Catholic youth leaving the Catholic faith as others. But then some of them, because of the strategic action field, they join in a, yes, religious revivalism or fundamentalist communities, in which they speak about, we are evangelists, we are living a better religious life. Yes, this is the map of this community. And finally, I work with religion as home of identity. The first question of my research, as I already mentioned in my second or third slide, was what is the logic behind youth participation in this religious peace movement, social movement. The first one, that this community provide youth with personal acceptance and personal role. They have it, and it gives them yes, personal acceptance and a role. I work, I can do something for my religion. And they have communal goal, communal imagination, that we need to do evangelization. Those who work with the I'll call it with the Adventist evangelization, they work and they do evangelization to people from others. But those who also do oikos evangelization, in every single members of this community should do oikos evangelization. to evangelize people, whether they do evangelization or they do recatolize, mengkatolikan kembali, memperdalam kekatolikan some of the Catholics. And the third one, finally, I found that this community could be a home of identity of the youth, because youth of this community join in the community agenda with voluntary participation. That is all what I can say, and thank you very much, and I will be happy to hear from you the questions and also maybe the exploration that I could do later for my research. Thank you very much, Mas Aziz. Still unmute. Okay.
Thank you so much, Romo Joko, for your interesting presentation. And now let's move to the Q&A session. And as usual, you can raise your virtual hands on Zoom, or you can write down your questions on the chat box. Or for those who are watching this forum via YouTube, you can write down your questions in the comment section of the YouTube website.
Yep.
So I will let 3 people to ask or to make comments. So Pak Joko, while waiting other people to ask or to make comments, perhaps for the uninitiated or for those who are watching this or who are listening to your lecture earlier, but do not have much knowledge about Christianity, perhaps could you explain a bit about what are the essential features of charismatic Catholicism, or what makes a Christian community a charismatic one? What makes a Catholic community a charismatic one, and whether Pentecostalism or can be also found in other Christian communities, not only in Catholicism but also in many Protestant churches, and perhaps overall about the demography. How many people are following this Pentecostalism or charismatic Catholicism?
Thank you.
Look at from the broader perspective of Indonesian Catholicism in general. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. This Pentecostal movement actually is quite new movement, even started in the Protestant, not Protestant, but it was in America in 1906, and then advanced growing in Indonesia started in 1921, and the influence of this Pentecostal are quite big. They could even influence the way Protestant and Catholic way of doing their rite, as I mentioned earlier. This Pentecostal actually is this Pentecostal is actually the way of the Christian communities honoring God with his third person. We know that the Catholic has Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The third one is the Holy Spirit. Under the Holy Spirit, and they have their way of living right, as they have the speaking in tongue. The speaking in tongue. They could speak with people mention it as aneh, bahasa yang aneh, but they are speaking in tongue, and they could have some prophecy, and they could do something like it. This kind of rite is not common in the Catholic Church, but when the influence of this community, of this way of doing rite, come to the Catholic Church in Latin America, for example, at first the influence of this community were big in Latin America, and they had problem. How could some people join in this community? And two, I had my research. I had my two researchers mention about that in the future maybe Latin America will not be majority Catholic again, but the number of Pentecostal Christians will overlap the number of Catholic in the area. But then, because of this kind of, yes, they love to have this Pentecostal, but they still also want to defend their Catholic identity. Then finally, there is a new kind of Catholic. This is Catholic charismatic. This is Catholic charismatic. Started in America, but in advance growing, come to Indonesia in 1967, as I already mentioned. Yes, they have their certain rights, but for a Protestant, for Protestant, sometimes not all, but some of them, when they have new kind of right, they will leaving their membership in their old church. But within the Catholic Church, they are not about to build new. We are not about to build new church, but they are about to build a new community within the Catholic Church. It was happened in the idea of Father Yohanes Indra Kusuma, and as I already mentioned, that Father Yohanes Indra Kusuma learned his idea of building this cell community space community. He learned from the Cho Yonggi, Dr. Paul Yonggi Cho in Korea. But then he could not manage it as the church there, because this church is new community. But when Father Yohanes built his community, this is a community within the Catholic Church. Therefore, I told you about that this community need to do a political identity within the Catholic Church. And that is what happened. To be accepted in the Catholic Church, they need to have their political identity. That is Mas Asis.
All right. How many people are following charismatic Catholicism today?
In Indonesia, I could not mention, but in this community, for example, so we know that in Indonesia there are two kinds of charismatic community. The first is what I call as Catholic charismatic renewal, or in Indonesia they call it as pembaharuan charismatic Catholic, pembaharuan charismatic Catholic. But this KTM is another community originally built in Indonesia with the idea that we need to have 100% Catholic and 100% charismatic in the name of Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus. Their number is not so many, but 10,000 to 11,000, as I mentioned earlier. But maybe in the future, this community could have a bigger influence because they have many centers. They have a good management of living community, and they have already several committed members that could do always evangelization. So they work with this evangelization.
Thank you, Romo. Now, are there people here who want to ask questions?
I have a question, messages.
Yes, Mas Andrew, please.
Yeah, I think just wanted also to clarify in relation to Mas Aj's questions. Mm, yeah, this is probably because of my ignorance of evangelical movements. When it gathers or when it comes together with Catholic, what I know about Catholic is very much close to local traditions, and
Yes.
evangelical movement is somewhat like a kind of like a purification, or that is what I know. Forgive
Yeah.
me for my ignorance. So I just wonder, like, the Catholic evangelical of today, like what you are researching on, uh, does it transform Catholic? If my assumption was true, if my very lack of knowledge is correct, does evangelical movement influence Catholic being purified and so somewhat away from local tradition,
Yep.
or the other way around, like evangelical become more attached to local tradition?
Yep.
Thank you, Mas Romo. Thank you,
Yeah.
Romo and Mas Ajis.
Okay, can I answer
Yep.
directly? Yeah, thank you, Pak Anju, for the questions. Yes, uh, if I can say, maybe this is one layer within the Catholic Church in Indonesia. One layer of the Catholic Church in Indonesia. Yes, you mentioned it very well, that the Catholic evangelical, this is a new kind of. I think I myself speak that this is a new. And then when you mention also about the purification, yes, their agenda is actually to purify the way of living Catholic. While in my research, I also found that this community also criticize many traditions in the Catholic in Indonesia, and they promote the way of old way of living Catholic uh, in Indonesia. They criticize the what's it they want to promote that, yes, we have a way of living the Catholic, and it is not so related to the local tradition. The second one is that if you mention about this closeness of the Catholic toward local people, because as I mentioned before, because of the schools, because of hospitals, and also social services. This community, when I ask them about these social services, the way of living and engaging people with their own life, yeah, I could found nothing, almost nothing. When I asked them, do you do some social services? Yeah, no, we only focus on personal engagement and how we live better Catholic tradition. How we live this one, and others. I think you speak about you mentioned it very good about the purification and not so focused on the local tradition. And I think, yeah, in the future, maybe this one is a new layer of the Catholic Church in Indonesia.
Mas Aziz, may I?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Hello, Mo.
Yeah, Mbak.
Related to Mas Anju, a question. Um, Many people think that Catholic charismatic movement is considered, what is that, aggressive in doing their evangelization, and many people actually find that it's strange or weird, or it's it's very, what is that, aggressive, because the evangelization of the Catholic faith is more commonly carried out by the dialogue of life. Or when you are kind with other people, you are Catholic. When you are um, doing charity, you are Catholic. And my question is, how the youth in KTM deal with this perception, and how maybe how uh, they face this problem, this other Catholic perception about them. Okay, thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Mbak Titin. When I learned about this community, I found out that yes, this is what happened when they have their their relations with the Pentecostal in Indonesia. They work with the perception of Pentecostal. The Pentecostal, as I mentioned before, they attracted our in the word of Father Johannes, and from the books that I read, they attracted our fellow Catholics, and we need to do something to defend our religion. And it is not enough for us to do the social services. We need to do better. We need to do more in order to protect them. And if it is possible, to attract people also to join us. Because in his word, Father Johannes mentioned in his book, because what he called as indirect evangelization through social services is only fit with the agrarian tradition. In this kind of era, we need to have a new kind of living religion and promoting religion. Living religion and promoting religion. That is why I mentioned this research has its contribution to speak about the local relation toward the other religions within in Catholic and Protestant. They have this tendency to have, yes, because they do that, we need to do that. The way of evangelizing others in this community, exactly as you mentioned, is following the way of Protestant or Pentecostal or evangelical churches. Personal engagement. If they have personal problem, we need to go to them, listening to them, and then if it is possible, attract them to the community. This is really the way of this community living religion. Later on, I also asked them. I just do an exploration. I also asked them, how about your the Catholic Christian, the Catholic relation toward Muslim? When I asked them about it, then there is no word. They speak nothing about it. Yes, Islam is Islam, and our problem is actually with the Protestant or Pentecostal, or later on they speak about gereja tetangga. Maybe it's an overclaiming of this community. Yes, Mas Asis, that's the answer.
Yeah, thank you. We still have around 15 to 20 minutes for discussion. So I will
Mas
let.
Ajis,
Yeah, who is
can
that?
I?
Who is that? Todia.
Dodi, Mas.
All
Dodi,
right.
Mas.
Yes, please, Todia.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Romo. Because I apologize, this I might be left behind with the discussion that or might be a little out of the focus, but I would like to know about this topic because it's very interesting, and as this a Catholic pastoral movement, Catholic charismatic movement has come or been born in the response to the stabilized or perhaps traditional Catholicism for so long, and then what was it also born with the agenda as a novelty movement, a reformation church, and the 50 Luther founder for the Reformation Church, and finally, does this have an effect on the Pope's single decision? Yes, that is the very different with the traditional Catholic Church and the Catholic charismatic. What that have the effect with the one what satu keputusan dari Popes. Thank you, Romo.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the questions, Dodi. The first one, it is about the Catholic acceptance of the charismatic in the Catholic way of living religion. Yes, in as I mentioned earlier, in 1967, this community comes into the Catholic Church in the Duquesne, Pittsburgh University, the move in the Duquesne community. Then up until today, there is no like official acceptance of this community. There is no official acceptance, but they are there. And Pope John Paul II at the time only mentioned this one. Please be careful with the they mentioned about. Please be careful with the tendency of segregation or leaving the church or others within these Pentecostal rites or charismatic rites. And we need to honor, and then the second, the charismatic should honor the leadership of, in the Catholic Church, we have local leader in the name of bishop, oskop bahasa Indonesianya. So they need to honor the authority of the bishop in the place, in the area. Therefore, the existence of Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus should get the acceptance of official acceptance of the bishop. KTM as a community in Indonesia is accepted in 20 dioceses in Indonesia out of 37 dioceses in Indonesia, 36 and one special diocese, 36 dioceses in Indonesia. So that, as I mentioned, Pope only say, yes, please be careful and honor the local bishop authority. And for this Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus is actually, when I did my research in Surabaya, I found that the local bishop, the Bishop of Surabaya, so as I already mentioned before, this community, Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus, has relation with the community of nun, namely CSA, of priests, namely CSA, and nun, Putri Karmel, and that they can hand in hand support each other. But in the context of Surabaya, this community, the Bishop of Surabaya only permit KTM and not permit the CSA and Putri Karmel to exist in the Surabaya. So this is politics of identity and negotiation of the Catholic. Yes, this happened because in the context of Catholic Church, they could not build new community, but their community should be accepted by the local bishop. And thank you very much.
Yeah, hope that can answer to this question. Yeah. Now there is one question in the chat sent privately to me from Margareta Retnopalupiro.
Yeah.
I want to ask about bahasa roh, or as you mentioned before, as bahasa yang aneh, strange language. Is it a gift or could it be learned? And how to be a person who can be given this gift? And how about the originality of this gift? And whether it could be used outside of the Catholic ritual or perhaps Christianity in general. So it's about bahasa roh or bahasa yang ada.
Yeah, bahasa roh in English is speaking in tongue, and whether this one it could be learned or not, yes, depend on. But then when I joined them, they said that this is a gift from God. When you are joining the rite, sometimes you will speak in a strange word and you could not understand it, but you feel the closeness to God. I joined them, and many youths do join the camp at the time. They speak in tongue, but I myself, because I came as a researcher, then I could not do it. I could not understand, and how, maybe because I thought so much at the time. And based on the the explanation of the leader of the camp at the time, those who give the teaching about speaking in tongue, they understand it as the fastest way of communicate to God. That even though we do not know it, but by this word, we communicate better with God. And in the Catholic Church, yes, because the charismatic is accepted, then this word is commonly accepted in the Catholic Church. I myself, I don't really understand how to make it and how to do it and how to use it in my rite and others. It could not be learned or not. They speak that yes, sometimes you will. It is a gift. You will know little by little, and finally you will find yourself could speak in tongue. That's Mas Aziz.
What is actually the objection from the Catholic Church, perhaps, with this kind of right speaking in tongue?
Okay. The objection of the Catholic Church of this community. Yes, I think sometimes people think that yes, we have our own kind of right, and this right and as we mentioned, this is like the gift of the church of the God in the Catholic Church come to the hierarchy. And within this Pentecostal or charismatic community, sometimes people feel that they get the personal gift that make them sometimes could have like I mentioned perpecahan, as I mentioned before, that they have authority to speak that this is from God and others and others. The authority of in the Catholic Church is coming from the hierarchy and could sometimes we negotiate it with the local, but not so far as personal gift. So sometimes if I speak with them, yes, you experience the gift of God, but it is your personal gift. Please don't share it with, don't think that your personal gift could be accepted by others.
Okay. We still have around 10 minutes. Now there is one question from Shakil Ahmad on the chat. How does the charismatic Catholic movement respond to several contemporary issues, let's say justice, environmental issues, even horizontal conflict in society?
Yeah, okay. This community, not charismatic Catholic movement, I will speak closely to the Komunitas Tritunggal Mahakudus explicitly. This community ever had diserang by FBI at the time in Cikanyeri. If we look in the Facebook, Pak Ahmad Munjid wrote about it. The first one. The second one, this in the Catholic Church nowadays we speak about the environmental. We have Laudato Si, the document from the Pope. We have the document of human fraternity. We have today the Fratelli Tutti, the word that we are, the document that speak that we are all brothers and sisters. But when I join them, this kind of discussion do not become a part of their discussion. Their discussion is about personal repentance, how we do our right, how do we have in the Catholic Church, you know, the convert to the not convert, the confession, confess our sin to the priest, and how do we do this? No, there is almost nothing about this environmental matter or horizontal conflict. No, I think one of my my promoter at the time also mentioned that yeah, sometimes this kind of community only think about personal morality, not about social morality. Personal morality, not about the social morality. That is the word that that my lecturer mentioned, my promoter mentioned, personal and social morality. That is the point, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Romo. Are there still questions? No. Well, perhaps to just conclude this forum, usually we students who begin studying Christianity, they would be given a lecture about three main sects within Christianity, and that is Orthodox Christianity, and then Roman Catholicism, and then Protestant churches. And now we have this Pentecostalism or charismatic movement. How do we locate this movement within the three old sects in Christianity?
What's it? Sorry, do not hear you.
So usually when students begin studying Christianity, they are taught that there are three main sects within Christianity, and that is Orthodox Christianity, and then Roman Catholicism, and then Protestant churches. That is usually what people who are not Christians study, and I was also studying that kind of stuff also. And now we have this movement, Pentecostalism or charismatic movement. How do we locate this new movement within these three old sects of Christianity?
Okay, thank you. Sorry, this here the raining is the big rain. So if we speak about the Christianity in general, we know that yes, the Christian started in the after the Christ era, and we have the two big we call it schism in the as you mentioned Orthodox in 1054, and then the Protestant in 1517, and also in the 20th centuries we have this Pentecostal. This Pentecostal is started in 1906 in America, and then after they started with the they have their own community, Pentecostal community, like Sidang Jemaat Allah and others. And after 50 years, they could influence the way of living Christian in the established community, in the in the Protestant, in the Catholic. They influence the way of living and doing right in the Catholic Church and Protestant Church in 1950s. In the Catholic Church, as I mentioned, 1967. And later, still there are the third wave of this community. They built by the small churches, a small community of this Pentecostal. So in 20 centuries, century is the like a new way, a new branch of, not branch, but they actually they birth and their private communities. They influence the way of the Catholic and Protestant and Anglican way of doing right. And the third one, they birth small communities of this. So some the scholars divide them into the first and the second and the third wave of Pentecostalism. So that is the study of this Pentecostal comes to that position.
So it seems that it can permeate many other churches. So there are Protestant charismatic.
Yeah, we have, and Catholic charismatic.
Orthodox charismatic community.
I don't really understand about it. Maybe later I can learn more about it. But because the Orthodox, they are here, but not so many.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Romo Martinus Joko, for your presentation. And usually, before we finish this forum, we have this ceremony of giving a token of appreciation to the speaker. But because we are doing this online, then yeah, perhaps at some point later we can give you some books from CRCS or
Thank you.
And just one announcement for those who are here. For the next week, we will not have a Wednesday forum because Wednesday next week will be a holiday, the Prophet Muhammad's birthday. And so we will resume this forum on November 4th or 5th. I forgot precisely. So we hope that we can see you again for the next 2 weeks, and we can have discussion. The topic is about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in the West with a speaker from the US. But just follow our social media to to know what it will be about. So thank you again to the speaker Romo Joko and other people here. And stay safe, stay healthy, and see you next time. Thank you.